The next trending film topic on the internet was actually mostly yesterday. It obviously was still going on today. And after I get through these three, I didn't want to really do it on the J.K. Rowling one because it's not specifically related to the film. It's people are just saying this is why they can't support her and disappointed and everything like that. But I do want to read some of the tweets about these other topics. If I can. I haven't. We'll have to see if my computer wants to work. But the next trending topic, and like I said, this started yesterday. This is hashtag recast T'Challa. This is from MovieWeb. Hashtag recast T'Challa trends as fans campaign for a new Black Panther. Many fans believe that recasting T'Challa with another actor would be a great way of honoring Chadwick Boseman based on the late actor's own words. Following last year's tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman, can you imagine anyone else in the role of T'Challa in the Black Panther movies? While this is impossible for many Marvel fans, there are others who believe that this needs to happen. A social media campaign calling for the potential recasting has picked up enough steam to get the hashtag recast T'Challa, holy shit, trending on Twitter. A petition has also been launched on change.org demanding the recasting. People want to see the series go on. It always sucks when you have a death like this. It reminds me a lot of when Paul Walker died. And so they could go that route. They could write T'Challa out, which is what I think they've kind of hinted at that they're doing, or they've said that they're doing. I know after he died, they came out and said we're never going to recast him. But then I think they backtracked that somewhere along the way. So right now, the fans are talking, no, go ahead, recast it, apparently based on his own words. He wanted to be recast, and or he didn't want to be recast, but he didn't feel like he owned the character or something to that effect. And in Marvel, we have seen them recast not the main character. I mean, I guess besides, actually, no, they did it with the Hulk. But there wasn't as much power behind the first Incredible Hulk movie as there was the first Black Panther movie. So it's kind of hard to compare the two. They haven't had to recast a role of that significance. They never recast Iron Man or Captain America. And like I said, when the Hulk thing went down, the Marvel movies are not at all on the level that they were as far as box office ratings, overall fan love with everything. They never had to recast a major role like that. And a lot of the conversation, and I don't know if this came from actual plans that they were doing or how this got out there, but the thought was they were going to not recast him. They were going to write him off in a way, and then they were going to make Shuri the main character. Letitia Wright, I think. Is that who that is? Oh, and this is still trending, or not trending, but it's still a popular topic. It says 40 tweets in the last hour. Everybody's, putting their picks on who they want to recast. But the other reason why this conversation comes up is because they don't want... Is it Letitia Wright? I better look that up. That sounds right to me. I just talked about this on the show the other night. Yeah, Letitia Wright. People don't want her leading the movie now because they want her out of the movie. They want her recast also. So that's another thing that's fueling this conversation is because they want King T'Challa first off. And I think that's because the alternative was this was now going to be a Shuri movie. Shuri, I don't know, whatever it is. And they were not... okay, they're not okay with that because she's allegedly anti-vax or something, which is interesting. And I said this the other night when I was talking about it too, but the amount of hate that she's garnered off of that, people have totally forgotten that she was involved in a very serious onset injury in the making of this movie, and at the time, I can't remember when in the timeline that lined up with her anti-vax position. God, I need to get a new fucking mic stand. Try to put it here so I don't fuck with it. But I made the joke the other night, like if Helena Hutchins would have been an anti-vaxxer, Alec Baldwin would be in a lot better shape right now, I think, because this is like the worst position you could take. They're equating you to being like Nazis or something to that effect just because you have different opinions on how we should be made to be made to handle certain situations. And that's another rabbit hole I don't want to go down. COVID and trans both coming up back to back on a movie show seems weird, but woke societal, I don't know what you even want to call them, but these things, they've now leaked into every facet of our culture. You can't even just have a movie show without mentioning these things because you want to talk about what people are talking about, and this is what it is. So that's fascinating in it of itself. But here was some of the tweets, some of the top tweets. Yulon Noel, someone just says recast T'Challa because it's not like Marvel Studios hasn't recasted an actor before. And it shows Terrence Howard and Edward Norton. Those are different levels of characters, and in the movies when those recasting took place were nothing like they've been before. And that they have done that in other movies before. The Dark Knight movies, there was some recasting. But we're not talking about the main character, the lead of the movie. I can't think of a movie that has had... Oh, and they missed Zachary Levi. They should have put him on that picture, too. But they haven't had they haven't had to recast Spider-Man, Captain America, any of these characters. People don't... Do people forget how big that movie was and what that movie meant to people? This is not the same thing. You cannot compare this to The Incredible Hulk. At least in my mind, it doesn't compute. More people sharing this article. It says, I hate to be that guy, but now would be the perfect time to recast T'Challa with variants being introduced and such. And that's true. And that's another reason why people are talking about this, not just because of Letitia Wright, but because with Spider-Man coming out, everybody's kind of wondering what the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe looks like. And so this is coming up. Some people are just posting that. They're not even posting. I guess there's not as many people that were posting their opinions as I thought. Someone has Jaden Smith on here. There's a couple of others, which I don't... Can he act? I don't think he can act. Yeah, more people just talking about the hashtag in and of itself instead of actually giving their suggestions like they were yesterday. So that's kind of disappointing because that's what I was curious to see. But the other thing is, I don't think they should recast him, and I'd be okay if they did. I'm not going to care either way. They could either go the Fast and Furious route where they write him out, like I said, or if they could get the families okay on it, and, I don't know if the fans would totally come around on it, but they don't need him here. People forget the technology that we have with films nowadays. I know everybody raised a giant fuss, and it wasn't just because it was weird. People called it disrespectful and different stuff like that when they used AI to replicate Anthony Bourdain's voice for a documentary, even though it was only like 30 seconds of talking or something like that. And I saw that, and I thought, wow, this is crazy. This deepfake shit's getting really cool. This is opening up the door for the future of technology and in filmmaking and everything like this. But a lot of people totally flipped out about it and didn't like it at all. And so I imagine it'd be the same thing here. Which, that's weird that they would rather have someone else take the role than just use the recordings that they have of him to keep the character alive. They brought back a guy that's been dead for like 20 years or something in Star Wars Rogue One. They've made, actors look a lot younger, and it looks way better than it used to be. Whether we're talking about, they even did it in the MCU with Iron Man and Michael Douglas. They've de-aged, I think is what they call it. They've done that a lot. And so they could do that, but it's the same people who probably don't want to go see the Tupac hologram concert, which I wouldn't want to go see that either, and unless it was free. I don't think that should be like a headline night on Coachella or something like that. But it's fun and it's cool, and if they can do it and actually capture the spirit, which that's the problem, is they're probably going to have a hard time doing that. I imagine. I don't know. I think that they could do it. The visual effects of Marvel are the best in any movies. I mean, that's one thing, regardless if you like those movies or not. You can't really knock their visual effects. That they're top of the line for sure. And so that's my thoughts on it. If you're going to recast him, recast him. I don't really care. You could go the Fast and Furious route, or you could just keep it going. These movies are hundreds of $millions to make anyways. Just direct. You don't got to pay a big star now, even though you'll give his family some money and stuff like that, which is why this is better than recasting him, I think. Not a popular opinion, but, I actually, when I was reading through those Twitter things yesterday, I actually didn't see a lot of people talking about that. It wasn't coming up, which is kind of surprising because I feel like I'm always seeing stuff about holograms in music. There was a Ronnie James Dio one. I think Tupac's obviously the one that always comes up a lot, and for some reason the conversation about this hasn't shifted to let's just have him keep doing it like they did with Rogue One or Anthony Bourdain. And yeah, interesting.